Well, I think we're outside of game one, we've had exclusively B1 Viegos. So, I mean, I don't expect that trend to change unless the bans are particularly abstract. We've got a LeBlanc ban, we've got a Yumi ban, so likelihood is we are going to see a lot less jungle priority from the bans, and we may well see something a little bit different. We've got the likes of the Wukong, the Gwen still unbanned. Those are power picks that have been taken off the board every single day so far, or every single game thus far. Today, GP not going to make it to the game, going to make it onto the ban table. So for this opening set of picks, it's going to be something different. Wukong or Gwen gets through.
Wukong or Gwen gets through. Please, can we get a good V1?
And at that point, right, you're starting
Praying.
to think, do we ban something that's a little bit lower tier by Mirage so that
And
they can
then
get
do
their
a
hands
trade.
on
Yeah, get the trade. Yeah.
two really prio picks? Like here, for example, if they didn't ban Talia, right, they could have gone for Gwen, Wukong. The triad of champions that we've seen so far are Gwen,
Yeah.
Wukong, Talia. Now, they could have left Talia open and opted to get the two that Vitality B can't pick, and Vitality B, they opt into the Wukong, likely to then be traded for the Gwen.
Oh, never mind. They're taking that Gwen.
Yeah.
Gwen B1. We spoke about this earlier in the day. Never mind. They're just completely baiting us.
Don't talk about hovers. That's rule number one.
It's gonna be the Zaya picked up. We
Ooh,
spoke about
very
how
early.
it's gonna be a Zaya Gwen. Pretty standard rotation here in response. I think Zaya offers a little bit of protection into the Wukong. I think Wukong is a champion right now. You can be one. It fits into a lot of different compositions, which is strange. Just come out of nowhere to kind of fulfill that kind of all-encompassing role. For me, I want to maybe see them round out thematically in this first phase here for Probably would do that in terms of two.
Mhm. They get some nice dive as well, I think. They've already started off with Wukong. Whenever you pick a Wukong, yes, he's sort of so cookie cutter that you can take him into any situation and so strong that that allows this thing, but you still want to facilitate his strengths. The strengths are diving, getting skirmishes down, and Akali certainly fits that brief as well. And was also seen as the other counter pick to the Gwen in the top lane. When you don't want to go for a double AD top side, you take the Akali as the answer to the Gwen instead.
Give me the Ezreal as well. Obviously, one of the other prominent picks on this patch that we keep seeing. Spoke about how before, like Zaya was presumed found dead at the scene, but then sort of had a bit of a bit of a resurrection almost. You see it going a lot more for some kind of different builds sometimes with this crit build. Oh, it could be a Lee Sin pick. I'm not a massive
Hmm.
fan of
Oh.
not a massive fan of Lee Sin, especially this early on in the draft. I feel like you kind of killed the flex that you were preserving with the Gwen. You kind of make it a bit more clear it's going top lane, especially with the fact that Vitality B have preserved this flex with the Akali. You spoke about how it presents that counter matchup into the Gwen. Um,
They do still have that
yeah,
option to flex it into the mid lane. You're not wrong.
yeah, exactly.
So they can just take it if it's a particularly good mid matchup, and they want to take something equally as good into the Gwen in the top lane. We'll have to see what they opt into. They're still actually with the flexes, not really a mismatch. There's that opportunity for there to be a mismatch, so they are just banning away one another's champion pools at this point, as opposed to specific role allocations. There's that chance that they want to take away mid laners from Vitality B in case they expect Diplex to take the Akali, but Karma so
Yeah,
far banned away. It's a very powerful duo with the Ezreal, and
I like
likely
I really like the Karma ban here. I feel like it enables Ezreal to have a pretty good laning phase, despite what I think it's one of the only blindable enchanters on this patch. I think it would have enabled the Wukong as well in terms of that pairing there. A good ban from Mirage, having the foresight to get rid of that. I think,
Rakan ban here for Vitality. Surely,
yeah,
there's still that Xayah Rakan combo, and yes, you're taking away mid laners that Rangjun may look to facilitate, and I think that Akali versus Twisted Fate as well. The specific interaction between Destiny plus the Shroud, certainly something that Vitality have got rid of. And if they're doing that, I think they're getting rid of Rakan as well. Just these nice matchups and nice interactions that they don't want to interact with.
we're going to be seeing the final pick that they're going to be taking away. Is that
Hmm.
Lysandra? Which to me, I was going to speak about this in terms of, to me, one of the champions that Flex is probably going to default to here is that Ari. You want to get rid of that Lysandra because it's such a prominent counter, even more so. We've spoken about it on the day. With that Ari slight nerf, it's still in prominence. It's not quite as broken as it used to be. But that to me speaks to a Ari blind pick potentially on the next rotation.
But the Mirage could have just taken it here as well themselves. They opt
Mm,
into the Nautilus here, so certainly not what I was anticipating, but something that can disrupt in the backline. It is worth saying, right? Or disrupt even in your own backline, if that makes sense. It's going to stop the Wukong and stop the Akali being able to do what they want to do. They can't dive you as easily if they're getting knocked up, if they're getting CC'd, and all the likes like that. It's certainly a pick that has got its power, and you were quite right as well in assuming the Ari off of the Lysandra. So, kudos.
yeah, completely. I do worry here. I thought we had a lot less time than we did. I got baited by the fact that the previous timer was so low, and then they locked it in and it reset, and it took a little bit of time to sit there. It's not
Mm-mm.
going to be the Zara. I think the Zara adds too much magic damage to this composition. Going to be looking for that Rakan, take it away from the duo. It makes a lot of sense. When in fact they've gone for the Nautilus. We're looking for a mid laner here now, presumably, unless they do the G2 Classic and put this Gwen mid.
That is a possibility. I don't. You know what? I'll be honest. I don't know if Rangjin will play the Gwen mid. He could very well do it. But we'll have to see.
I like an Orianna here. I feel like it rounds out your composition. Gets a bit more space control. Has a good utility and synergy with the Nautilus, with the Lee Sin, for example.
And they've got that wombo combo aspect of you can get needlework into a shockwave, into a kick potentially as well,
Yeah,
cycling through a load of people.
we could indeed see the knock up onto two with the wombo combo.
Are you memeing? Is there a meme here?
Have you
or
not?
whatever?
Have you? That's the biggest meme. That's my favorite meme ever.
Oh, that's my bad. There's a lot. There's a lot of. There's a lot
People
of
in the chat,
mobility. Okay,
people in the chat know.
they do. They do. That's on me. But my concern with Oriana is that trying to find a Oriana Shockwave versus 5 mobility champions not going to be easy.
Yeah, completely agree with you. Feel like just initially for me, Rakan has a lot of work to do this game in terms of getting on to any potential backline. You've got the Gwen, he's got to kind of get through. You've got the Lee Sin that has a bit of a disengage. Oriana with sums is going to be difficult to get onto. Potentially, it's a time to abuse if that sum goes remiss. In terms of getting onto the Zion Nautilus as well, it's going to be relatively difficult. But you are obviously aided by that Wukong as well going forward.
Yeah, they've got a lot of friends. Dive buddies are always going to be quite happy to go in.
Again, Mr. Boris. We talked about him having some rather scrupulous sort of Scamazo deals earlier. I wonder if he is feeling a bit more, or a bit less frugal, rather, and whether or not we can get some nice item purchases on the Rift.
I wonder what new item purchases are going to look like on 1210B. Well, I don't wonder. I know, but I'm going to be interested to see how soon players are going to look toward those. Because this is, the patch before durability, the final game for the day as well. Mirage Elyandra going to be playing up against Vitality B.
I'm just, for pure safety reasons, I'm going to be referring to them as Mirage this entire game.
That's a good idea. It's a very good idea. Very safe, very smart.
Well, I'm a safe kind of guy. It seems like both teams playing it pretty safe so far. Standard setup, the Nautilus does get that early ward and then goes straight into the base. Doesn't seem like we're going to be seeing too many shenanigans in this first minute or so of the game.
No, the biggest advantage that's going to be drawn is from Raxo because went back to base, got that sweeper. Jack Troll's done the same thing, so we could see a 2v2 down in the bot lane in exchange, or trying to exchange for wards and get some bush control. I have to see who it is that can come out on top of that skirmish. Ezreal will have the range advantage, but if he gets hit by that hook, then that does go in the bin.
You see Jessler, so it seems like the plan is pretty much seen, but Jack Troll is going to get position on that. So it seems to be the pressure war in the early game of this lane should be won out, but see Raxo here. Both wards just going to be traded both ways, but there's a hook onto Jack Troll. A little bit of a trade return into Jaxo, onto Raxo. He has to flash out there. He goes very low. One more ward will do it. It wasn't worth it for the ward man, Raxo. That's going to be Jack Troll and Jeskler absolutely winning out the war of attrition in the bot lane that actually ended up being a bit of a cluster.
War of attrition is a bit of a bold statement to go for. That was an all-in by Vitality B's bot lane. Jeskler and Jack Troll having a really good time of things. Raxo, when you go for those hooks in at level 1, you have to be prepared to go for the all-in, to go for the engagement, because your exit damage...
He laid it all down on the line there.
Yeah, the exit damage is way too high from Jeskler and Jack Troll. They just had too much to follow up with. They were willing and able to burn those summoner spells to take them down. And yes, there's no flash on an Ezreal, but he's reached level 2. We've reached the free flash stages of this Ezreal laning phase, so you're more than happy to take that trade. And First Blood, granted, it goes on to Jack Troll, but still, very nicely set up.
And we talked about in the pre-game how it was going to be an important thing for how Jack Troll can impact this game in terms of what kind of access can he acquiesce within the game. And he's immediately come up with the immediate answer that, yeah, it translates to a 2-minute First Blood or so. So well played to him. Maybe a bad play to Raxo on that one. Maybe a slightly too greedy, but maybe a lead for Vitality B's bot lane in the opening.
And an Ezreal who gets a tier fairly early on is one that's quite happy with themselves, being able to stack up scale a little bit faster into the laning phase, certainly expected for Jeskler. I won't have the base timing just yet, but he's going to be looking for one fairly early on to start those tiers a stacking. against a bot lane that, you know, Raxo, not necessarily the same tenured experience that Codyson has, a former Worlds attendee. So, you know, the veteran presence at least there, going to be looking to shepherd Raxo through the early game.
Yeah, and whether he can be that shepherd that sort of leads the sacrificial lambs towards that victory is another question for another day. So far, it's just very much been the case that both junglers trading off that tempo, doing a full clear. Generally speaking, like to see this Lee Sin have a bit more of an impact in this early game. He's kind of gone for that full clear, and potentially look towards the bot side now. They've not quite managed to crash this. Raxo goes in for a hook here. QE going to mean that Jack Troll goes quite low here. Memento is here around the side, has the flash available. This could be really bad for Vitality B. Flash forward and lands onto Jack Troll. Jeskler has absolutely sold Jack Troll down the river there. And it is going to mean a return kill in the bot side for Mirage.
Utter betrayal. Jack Troll's there like, I don't need to flash. I'm good. My Ezreal will block. And then all of a sudden, Jeskler's like, yeah, you got the wrong picture there. Unfortunately, and, you know, unfortunately ends up falling. Really nicely played gank from Memento. Kudos for just basically sending the flash Q. Didn't have a ward because he hopped over the wall with it. So, like I say, going for the flash Q, knows he has to hit it. Otherwise, the gank's going to fall and he's going to look like a bit of a fool. But Memento was no fool today. Finds that kill, and, you know, it's a kill onto your Lee Sin. You're expecting and asking for some early game action. We got it.
Yeah. Memento able to take a memento of some of Rakan's feathers there. Whether he can transition that into more of a lead is another thing that we're going to have to be monitoring. He's going to be walking towards these level 2 camps now, but the Rakan has roamed up, potentially to look towards this top side. They've got this Rift Scuttle with the speed up. Can they find Bad Lulu without that flash?
He's going to go for the ward and may die for it.
Here it comes, Bad Lulu. He has that W out almost immediately. Jack Troll can't quite manage to, does find the W in the end. The E doesn't quite come from Jigenda, but he does find the kill in the end with the Ignite.
Yeah, really nicely played. Good timing as well from Bad Lulu. Knows that his bot lane is not in a position... Oh, sorry, excuse me. Really good roam timing onto Bad Lulu. Roam timing from Jack Troll is very good. Knows that his bot lane is not in a position to particularly help or do anything, so takes himself up to the top lane, finds something that would otherwise have not been possible, right? That knockup was the ceiling of the deal that secured the kill, and Sagenda able to find the priority, find that kill now as well, and already forcing defensive build path from Bad Lulu in the top lane. Null Magic Mantle and a Ruby Crystal are not those common items. Well, the Ruby Crystal obviously builds into the Rift Maker for Bad Lulu, but it's not your aggressive build path.
Yeah, and we spoke about during the pregame, a big talking point for us was if Vitality B get to this mid game, they are very controlled, very disciplined, able to steamroll a game forwards. It just comes down to whether they have any hiccups in that early game. So far, so good for them, apart from one minor mishap in the bot lane, but looking good so far.
Mirage looking to try and take this dragon. It's off the back of Memento, just finding a bit of a window. He's got some free time and not really anything to do. No camps available.
The ultimate comes out from Rangyun. Memento's going to try and find that Q, but he's going to get completely chunked out, still getting hit by that dragon. This should mean he has to be a little bit more careful. Wukong is around the side here, ready to come in, and this is going to mean that the dragon does not go the way of Mirage.
Early Smite means a disengage for Mirage, and the ball just to bait out Skeeter's clone. Importantly, Jack Troll and Jeskler were always running anchor on the play and not allowing Codyson and Raxo to get into the river there. They were the ones that sort of controlled where the wave was and controlled how the lane was going to get played out. So there was never any support from the bot lane, and that also sort of helps as to why Memento had to back away.
Indeed, the dragon's not going to go either ways as Wukong is opting in for a tempo reset, move towards that top side camps. I want to be seeing Jack Troll maybe get a little bit more of XP before they potentially look to set up that Rift Herald, because that is the major thing that is going to be on the map now.
With Memento back up on this top side, his attentions may well be war towards this Akali, because the Gwen certainly needs help. You know, got ganked early on. There's obviously a lot of issues for Bad Lulu with the wave in his position right now. Needs that shepherding, needs to be helped and facilitated to crash this wave. Sagenda holding it in a very good spot, and there's already a little bit of a scuffle up here.
Only Skeens versus Memento. Memento gets that quick little ward jump out of there to avoid any potential extended skirmishes. And we spoke just now about this Rift Herald setup. Nautilus is on the map. Nautilus is coming back on the map. Jack Troll's still level 4. Going to look to soak some XP to the mid lane, potentially transition into it, but it could be difficult depending on where Raxo goes here.
In Nautilus out of base, a bit of an unpredictable pattern. You don't really know where this lane is going to go. You have to play with that respect that Raxo can at any point show
in the top
up.
side. Has the ultimate available, does use it almost immediately. Jigenda goes in now, has the Ignite available. Skeens goes very low here. Not quite going to be taken out, though. It is a game of edges there. Skeens almost goes down, but they do manage to find another kill, and that's going to mean I expect Wukong to take a tempo reset here, and they managed to find Rangyun here. This is a big W onto him here. Diplex flashes forward. This is big from Diplex. He's going to get another charge on that, and Memento's not going to be able to find too much here. Yeah, you see this. This is what we spoke about. Vitality B, they find a way forward in this early game, and they're just powering forward.
Really well played by Diplex there. Uses the ulti and the flash in tandem to dodge away from the shockwave. Gets over the top of it and takes down Rangyun and manages to find another kill. The marginal error or the marginal kill up on the top side that stopped Skeens from going down, and now Jack Troll in trouble.
Raxo trying to find Jack Troll. Can he get taken out before he gets out there? Ignite is timing down just about, and he survives on what is surely, I think that was about 5 HP or so. We spoke about these margins. This is so small in terms of him being alive or dead, basically living in purgatory at this point is Jack Troll. Nothing to be found for Mirage here.
And to speak on those margins again, if Memento had found any extra damage, I think that his combo was Q kick Q. If you'd have put anything extra in there, the execute damage from the Lee Sin would have been enough to let that ignite tick down. So just missing out by, like we say, the slimmest of windows, and yes, you get a dragon for it based off of Jack Troll having to go back to base, but overall, not quite getting the most beneficial play.
Yeah, I think the story from Mirage so far is getting a few small things, but not managing to really capitalize on it. They managed to get that kill onto Jack Troll into the bot lane, not being really able to abuse the fact that the summoners were burned there. And now it's a case of, on the top side of the map, Shigenda has really started to accelerate over Bad Lulu.
This is horrendous for Bad Lulu right now. No access to the wave. Shigenda will simply solo kill. The wave is going away from him as well, so Shigenda will be able to force a freeze pretty much at any given point. And with Diplex having complete control as well, this top side of the map is getting worse and worse for Mirage.
Yeah, and it's the case of, rather, you would have liked to have seen Memento be able to enable this bot side. They're having to really stem the bleeding that's existing on the top side now, otherwise it is just going to bleed out at some point.
Well, here they go.
This is going to be a massive engagement to Jack Troll. Ultimate is good from Rangyun, but the charm into W is too much. You can't quite stop that from happening. It's a 3-man engage. Charm, Wukong, Nupok. It's kind of your dream CC triad.
And you perfectly mentioned how it could be difficult to get onto an Ori with summoners. Rangyun has no flash, and they are showing how easy it is to kill an immobile mid with this backline dive. This is great foreshadowing from Vitality B for the team fights later on. They're going to be so easy to execute if they can find access to this backline. Simply use all your ults and they're going to die, right? That is replicatable, very actionable on all sides.
This could be the Ignite coming down here. Shigenda looking for a solo bowler. He's going to spend some time in the Shroud, letting that Ignite tick out. Wukong's going to have first move here. Bad Lulu gets R2'd onto. Skeens comes in here. Here he comes, R2. Easy pickup from Skeens. Memento kind of just getting outpaced now by Skeens in terms of being on the map.
And I feel bad for Bad Lulu because he kind of needed to do that. He's given his life up to reset the wave. Shigenda was holding a permanent freeze, was going to constantly choke him out. This way, the wave resets and there's a chance that Bad Lulu can have access to the wave, but it's obviously giving up Ignite, giving up ulti, giving up your life and even more gold to this time Skeens, I believe, coming out with the kill. But either way, it comes at a cost. But I can understand, and you have to look at those players, and you may just think, why is Bad Lulu just sprinting into the Akali? But there was a purpose for it.
Absolutely, and you spoke about this kind of stylistically. What they need to do is have access to this backline. It's at a point now, Mirage is beyond that threshold where they don't really have a choice and agency in whether their backline is accessible. It's kind of difficult to we spoke about in draft how they have certain elements of their composition that provides utility and protection for the backline, but with the gold lead, it's difficult to have that be the case. On Skeens, though, Red Smite on. Memento is getting taken out here. Doesn't quite have the W available just yet. Gonna be waiting for that Q. Memento is very cheeky. Can he manage to make it out? Very cheeky for Memento.
Yeah, steals away that red buff. And you talked about, to go back to, in the draft right there, difficulty is going to go through a Gwen, but going through Bad Lulu, not a difficult problem for Vitality V right now. They don't have an issue.
Skeens is on the turret just to stop this from being the case. Has to flash out. Skeens is firing off a little bit more than he can chew here. He's going to go down to the Ignite. Jack Troll tries to temper a little bit of the CC that they have in response. Shigenda gets that Rift Herald really escorted in. Raxo, it counter-engage here, has to flash out, and then it's going to be Skeens going down. Ultimate comes down. Here's Memento, gets out again, once again. Raxo might be able to find a Q angle here. Can he find it onto Jack Troll? Hits onto Shigenda. That looks very strange around the wall.
Absolute hitbox nightmare. But this is going to be a nightmare game to watch and to try and understand what's going on. We touched on all of the mobility that these champions have. Look at this replay at just how many dashes come through and who gets in, who gets out, all of the trickery that these champions can provide. Schemes with a nice flash to start it off. Unfortunately, stepped a little too close to the sun, gets burned and taken down. Double knock up from Jack Troll just a little too late. But then this is what I'm talking about in terms of who's getting caught, right? Raxo goes in, has to burn the flash. Then we see Shockwave hits onto Sagenda. Uses Shuriken Flip to get out. We've got Memento dashes out to safety as well. And then Raxo with this is the definition
We've mentioned a lot of football today, right? And a football reference here. He has bent that hook like Beckham. That does not deserve to go around the wall.
Yeah, literally. That's the understanding, I suppose, of hitboxes. The way that the likes of Thresh, Blitzcrank, and Nautilus all work is they get bigger at the end. So they do start to extend and balloon out at the top. So the lollipop hitbox, that's the way I call it.
Okay, that's an interesting way of saying it.
Because, you know, it's nice and thin to start off with, but then as it pops out at the end.
Yeah.
It looked like a lollipop.
Fair enough. With this dragon coming down now, it is going to be the case. Shigenda's going to get this priority in the top side. Neither of the top laners have teleports, so it's not going to be not going to be that full-on 5v5 we're expecting. Mirage trying to get position on it, but that bot lane wave pushed in. It's going to be a case of fighting for that mid priority now, which they do have the numbers advantage for on the side of Mirage. But Vitality B are setting up in the flanks.
What we haven't particularly seen is Cody Sun in any capacity, and that's, you know, seen in the fact that he's got both summoner spells and his ult up. May have to burn them now, though.
Oh, he is going to have to. Can't manage to find the ultimate here. He's in a very rough spot. The E is good, but here comes the Wukong trying to find him. Memento is trying to create that space. Shigenda off on the side here, takes out the kill. Rangjun flashes away into a 3-man shockwave. But here comes Jack Troll. He finds Memento. Memento goes very low. One more Q will do it. They're all quite so low, but it is going to mean the dragon in translation.
Yeah, and I was thinking this is like the one shot, really, where Mirage have an opportunity. The large portion of the gold lead is in the top lane. The top laners weren't going to be a part of the fight. But unfortunately, Cody just face-checking into absolutely zero vision. And with Skeens there, with Jack Troll there, they force the ulti, force both summoners as well. And yes, they don't get to take down the AD carry, but the one shining point, or not the undulled point, I suppose, for Mirage, was able to be taken down and taken out of the fight, meaning that for Vitality B, it was all too easy.
Yeah, and I mean, off the side there, I mean, we mentioned it during the team fight, is the fact that this capitulation continues to be a non-stemmed, hemorrhaging deficit in the top side. Bad Lulu taken out on a solo bolo once again is going to mean that Shigenda is getting to a point now where he can just literally do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly. Using the Takali in the late stages of the game. It's a champion that will deal damage to everybody on it, regardless of building up magic resistance or not. This is a terrifying threat to be playing up against. 2 levels up, OB a counterpart, and you know that freeze that we saw trying to be established that was broken by Bad Lulu, forcing to give his life away, is clearly not being enough. And Sagenda just too far ahead. The answers for Akali this game have to come from everybody on Mirage, and then even if you expend everything on the Akali to take down Sagenda, there's Jeskla, there's Diplex, there's Skeens, there's damage coming out of everywhere for Vitality B that at the minute Mirage simply won't have an answer.
Oh, so an engage from Jack Troll. They do manage to find Cody's son. Cody's son is going to go very low here. Skeens is onto it, gets the kill, gets the Wukong ultimate once again. Raxo going very low here. Wukong finds the double in the end there, and it's both the bot lane duo going down there, going to mean another Rift Herald for the side of Vitality B.
And again, perfectly executed by Vitality. They choke out Vision and they force Mirage to get in and try and check with their faces. Unfortunately, they end up dying, they end up losing it, and Vitality just consistently picking up these fights, picking up these kills, and extending that lead. It is a little bit unforced by Mirage, right? You know, face checking as a Zion, not necessarily the greatest one. You've got things like Q to go for it. I may just lose Rangyun here too.
Rangjun doesn't have the flash available. Immobile mid. Immobile indeed. And he gets sent straight back to the fountain.
Great. Another execution by Vitality B. They burn the flash from Diplex there to get the Everfrost slow in. And, you know, even though Rangyun has no flash, not really a lot that he could have done with it. 3 charges from Diplex means that there's always going to be that gap close available.
And this is Vitality B being classic Vitality B. We spoke about how smooth and slick back their mid-game looks. They really consolidated a lead. They built from it. They continued onwards, and it's looking like pretty standard gameplay from Vitality B.
Yeah, at this point, the question is, how easy is it for Vitality to close? And up against this Mirage squad, we expect it to be fairly easy. They didn't really present too much of a front in the spring split, but obviously would like to try and showcase a little bit more in summer. Thus far, though, for Vitality, it has been business as usual. Back to that semi-finals EU Masters stage of play.
Indeed, I mean, we spoke about the curse. They don't seem very cursed to me. They seem to be showing a nice bit of finesse, nice bit of 1-2, some step overs on the ball, perhaps.
No, no.
No more football. I understand.
It's being vetoed today. It'll be back tomorrow, I imagine, but...
Back tomorrow. Football's on tomorrow. Football's coming home, though. That's an important thing.
No, you can't say that on a French stream.
Yeah, that's very true. And the amount of deaths that Raxo's having, he's not quite gone down yet. Diplex manages to find him in the end there. Jack Troll's trying to find Cody's son as well. Memento isn't able to get into these fights at all. Memento, time and time again, he's the champion that wants to try and find these kicks back, but isn't able to get into the fights at all. So much disruption being created by this Wukong.
Yeah, and a really good job overall by Vitality B, just causing chaos everywhere. I mean, somehow, Leeson, the one who's not died thus far, Memento 1-0-1, but...
It's Jack Troll.
Good Gale Force there, really nice.
He's been forced to use the Gale Force there as the Rift Herald comes charging down onto the Tier 1 bot lane. For me, it's just about how do they keep up the pressure? How do they kind of choke Mirage more and more out of this game? Moving towards this Baron mark, it's going to be for me, looking how they set up this topside vision. Again, is getting very cheeky. Rangjin does almost have flash again. Here he comes, though. Rangjin, you saw him. That's the Ignite. R2's going to land as well. Rangjin, the presence of mind there. He hasn't run the precision setup, but the presence of mind non-existent there.
Now, think about this from Rangjin's perspective. How many times are you walking into your jungle, wherever, and looking between your own tier 2 and tier 3?
You will have seen him on the map.
Okay, also true. I'm trying here, okay?
You're trying to come up with excuses for Rangjin. It's pretty inexcusable.
All right. Well, there you go.
It's like you're in the movie Jaws. I'm going to see Bad Lulu potentially get engaged on here by Jack Troll. He manages to just about get away. Numbers aren't quite there. He's going to be able to pick up this ward. That play there from Rangjin is like if you're in the movie Jaws, you see the shark and then you think, I quite fancy swimming. You've seen Jagenda, the 5-0, or 4-0 at that time, 2 items, early, and you've gone into the jungle and surprised when your head's been chewed off.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Rangjin bad in that instance. Not a great look necessarily, but
not the best. No.
I mean, Sajenda is looking, and it is kudos to him for trying to force this lead and pretty much take as many fights as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 items completed. Looking for the workings of the Zhonya's as well now, which is going to make it harder to kill. Vitality B are taking objectives around the map. One objective advantage secured, sure, for Cody's son, but is it too little too late? There's a dragon going over to Vitality B as well. It's not even soul points, so those Drakes are going to start stacking eventually, but they're not the biggest threat right now.
That's not really the way that I think Vitality B are going to close off. I think this is very much just an added cherry on the top for what they're already building. I'd like to see them set up some more vision towards this top side, potentially look towards getting this Baron. You can put Shigenda in the bot side. There's no one that can contest him. You have to send multiple members to him, which should mean a numbers advantage in the top side when they want to eventually go for this Baron. And yeah.
I mean, when they get over to this Baron, it is just going to melt as well. Like I said, they've got 4 carries effectively trying to deal DPS to it. Granted, none of these are the greatest Baron takers in their own right, but they're all so far ahead. They've all got enough items to dish out their fair share, their fair portion of damage to the Baron. And it's so early on in the game, it's not the tankiest thing to try and take down. Potential for Diplex to get caught, but it turns out that he may be finding Memento instead.
He finds Memento, has the flash and ult available. One of the stories of today is Aries who are very hesitant with ult. Hoping to see Diplex be a bit less cautious, but although the bravado of what has been going on and
where is he? Why?
Jagenda has got Rangjin's number this game. He's absolutely... It's in the contact book at this point. The number has been accessed. Ultimate as well. Rangjin just getting absolutely styled on by Diplex there. By Jagenda, sorry. Raxo gets taken out as well. Sking's on a killing spree. And that one pick is going to mean they probably move towards the Baron here. Should be taken rather easy as well.
All right. Yeah, okay. This game is continually going further and further down for Mirage. Vitality should be able to move over toward this Baron. 2 quick picks down on the bot side of the map. Nice TP from Sajenda to start it all off. He doesn't even have to go up toward this Baron if he doesn't want to. Would probably be better for the cause of safety. And, you know, Jack Troll right now just going to kill Memento.
That's the Jack Troll onto Memento. Hex Drinker won't do you much when you get a true shot barrage right to the face. That is going back to the fountain. Bad Lulu's around the side, but there shouldn't be any threat for this Baron to be contested in any way. And I'd like to see them just utilize through side lane, close out this game now. Rangjin, what are you doing, bud? That's going to be an ultimate. Shigenda should be able to go into the storm here. Wait, hang on a second here. God, we need to see what's going on with Shigenda. Shigenda's gone down, but maybe actually a good play from Rangjin. He set up teleport bait of the century there.
He set up the teleport bait of the century. Plus 1k gold to Cody. Definite win condition.
Probably a guy you want it on. I figured out the main problem for Mirage and Rangjin in particular this game.
What's that?
So what is a Mirage, Rudu?
Yes.
A mirage is it's a thing where you perceive there to be water in the desert, but it's actually an illusion. The problem is every time he goes towards this bot side, he sees the river and he thinks, wow, the bountiful water to get us back into this game. But it's actually just Shigenda every time. It's an illusion. And he's just getting absolutely demolished every time.
The same thing as like when pirates used to get baited by sirens. They think it was like, you know, bountiful loot or whatever on an island, and it was just... They thought that sirens were mermaids, that's it.
I mean, there are definitely sirens in this game. I think some of the deaths that Rangjin have had should mean that he maybe goes to jail, but you know, not to rag on him too hard. I feel like he's going to be able to get these items now building towards the second item. I believe it's going to be with the blasting one, and Kindle Gem should be...
Seraphs,
help me out here. Seraphs, yeah, 100%.
Okay, and that gets a little bit more sustain as well from the Seraphs, right? You use spells, you get health. That's how how it works. And hopefully it's going to be enough. But this Orianna still going to be fairly scared rather of the Akali, of the dive presence that Vitality B have. We haven't really seen a full 5v5 just yet.
They just haven't had to be honest with you, Rude, dude. It's very much been the case of on 3 prongs, Mirage have failed to kind of be able to offer up any resistance. We saw in the top lane that lead just, you know, bolstering forward. And now it's the case that Vitality B can close out this game however they want. If they want the 5v5, they're probably good to go. If they want to do it through side lane, it's very much pick your poison at this point for Mirage.
Yeah, well, I think that Mirage are the ones in a little bit of trouble. Vitality can choose really where they want to go for the most part of this kind of closing stage, you would imagine.
Pick your poison more in the sense of choose how you want to lose the game. You know what I mean?
You know, you're not wrong. All right, yeah. But I don't think you ever want to choose to lose the game. That's my caveat.
But that might be your only option at this point. There's very difficult ways for them back into this game. I think if it does come, it comes from a misstep from Vitality B. You just have to be ready to be able to respond if that mistake happens. Memento goes forward here, gets the E out from Jeskler. They're knocking on the base now. Going to be able to take out this turret here. Top lane turret is probably the next option.
Oh no.
It is an engage from Jack Troll. It's going to mean that Raxo goes down very low. And Shigenda goes forward. It's a massive engage. Holy. From Skeens to Shigenda. Co and Co, hand in hand, they come marching towards the base. And it is going to mean the death's door potentially from Mirage here. As there's another engage forward there, just unrelenting in their aggression. Bad Ludo can't quite manage to find much more than Jeskler. Diplex goes in. Rangjin manages to dodge out from that charm here. But it should be 19-4. A dominant. We spoke about the mid-game dominance for a team like Vitality B. They've not disappointed. They've managed to take down the base now. 26 minutes against Mirage. What an opening statement for them in the LFL summer.
Yeah, a very good start. Okay, we double stasis under the turret, under the Nexus fountain. Certainly a little bit of style points as well added to Vitality B. They get themselves their win, put themselves 1-0 in the start of Summer Split.